My best friend announced his engagement to my ex-fiancée in front of the whole company. I said congrats to you both and let him celebrate while the countdown started. Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. Hey, I've been holding this in for months, and honestly, after everything that's happened, I think writing it all down might make sense of how the hell things played out. So yeah, here's what went down. So, I, 29 male, work in consulting. One of those big companies where everyone's young, overworked, and pretending they enjoy team-building games. I started here fresh out of college with my best friend, Pete, 29 male. Me and him had been tight since sophomore year. We met through a group project that turned into late-night study sessions, then turned into roommates. We were polar opposites, but somehow it worked. I was the more grounded one, quiet, kept my head down, got my stuff done. Pete? He was the loud, shiny one, good-looking, charming, always had some slick one-liner ready to go. You know the type, the kind of guy who could show up late and still get people to laugh and clap for him. When we both landed jobs at the same firm, it felt like we were leveling up together. We ended up in the same onboarding group and just started climbing from there. Over time, we formed a tight friend circle with a few others who joined around the same time. Weekly lunches, late nights in the office, meme-sharing group chats, the whole vibe. And that's where I met Sharon. Sharon, 28 female, was part of another new hire batch, joined a couple months after us. She was smart, cool, easy to talk to. We didn't hit it off right away or anything, but eventually we started grabbing lunch together, talking more. And next thing I knew, we were seeing each other outside of work. It felt natural. She got my sense of humor, kept up with my sarcasm, and didn't mind that I wasn't the flashy type. Pete was there for all of it. In fact, he was one of the people who kept pushing me to go for it. I remember one night, we were stuck at the office doing some dumb system migration cleanup, and he nudged me and was like, "You gonna keep flirting or you gonna do something about it?" I laughed it off, but yeah, he was always like that. Loud, pushy, confident, but in a way that made you think he meant well. Once Sharon and I got together officially, she blended into the group quick. Everyone liked her, especially Pete. They'd joke around, she'd always say how funny he was, how good it was that we were best friends. She told me once she thought it was rare for guys to have a friendship like ours. And honestly, I agreed. Fast forward like 2 years into the job, I proposed. We were living together at that point, and things were stable. I saved up, bought the ring, planned the night out, did the whole thing right. She cried, said yes, posted the pic with some cute caption about soulmates, and I was on cloud 9. The first person I told was Pete. He was hyped, hugged me, clapped me on the back, started listing off ridiculous ideas for the bachelor party before I even got the full sentence out. When I asked him to be my best man, he actually looked emotional for once. Said it was an honor and that he was proud of me. I believed every word. Looking back now, that part pisses me off the most, because at the time, I genuinely thought we were solid. All of us. Me, Sharon, and Pete. It was like I had my future locked in. A fiancé I loved, a best friend who had my back, and a decent job that was finally starting to pay off. Everything seemed fine. No red flags, no weird tension. If anything, Pete was acting the same as always, cracking dumb jokes, flirting with waitresses, showing up late to meetings and still getting praised for being innovative. I don't know how he did it, honestly. He was one of those guys who just coasted through on charm. Meanwhile, I was pulling 60-hour weeks to keep our projects from collapsing. Still, I didn't mind. That was the dynamic. I was the fixer, he was the face. And I figured it balanced out. I didn't know it at the time, but I was already sitting on a pile of kindling. Just didn't see the match yet. Things started shifting a little after the engagement. Nothing huge, just small stuff. And I'm not the paranoid type. I don't sit around making conspiracy charts when someone replies late to a text. I trusted her. But yeah, the vibe started feeling weird. And I wasn't sure if it was just me being overly sensitive or if something was actually changing. Then, Sharon started pulling away in these subtle ways. Like she was physically there, but mentally parked in another life. I'd ask her what was wrong, and she'd give me this soft smile and say, "Nothing, just tired." And that's the thing, she always seemed tired. Not physically, more like emotionally. Like even being around me took effort. But I kept thinking it was just a phase. That maybe we were both stretched thin, and once the wedding stress eased up, we'd click back into place. I remember this one weekend. We had planned to go visit my folks. They were throwing this small barbecue, nothing fancy, just burgers, drinks, catching up. She bailed last minute, said she wasn't feeling great. I'll come next time, she said. But there wasn't a next time. After that, she started dodging more stuff. My family, my friends, even small traditions we'd had. Friday night Thai takeout and dumb reality shows? Gone. Now it was solo dinners and I've got a headache, can we talk later? Then came the day that I'll never forget. The day she sat across from me at our favorite lunch spot. Same table, same order. I asked if she wanted to check out the florist after work. She looked down and said, I can't do this anymore. Zrenia, like she was reading off a menu. Crying, shaky voice that sucker punched the air right out of my lungs. I blinked at her. What do you mean? She picked at the napkin on her lap. I've been feeling off for months. I didn't want to hurt you, so I tried to push through. But I feel suffocated. I feel like I'm living someone else's life. I don't think I'm in love with you anymore. I couldn't even process it at first. 1 week ago, we were talking about where to go for our honeymoon. 2 weeks ago, she was lying in bed next to me, laughing at that dumb movie we watched after a rough day at work. 1 month ago, we were at her mom's house, talking about wedding cake flavors, and if we should do a destination wedding. I don't get it, I finally said. We've had rough patches before, but we worked through them. You never said you were unhappy. She just shook her head and said, I didn't want to make it worse. You've been busy with the promotion and I didn't want to add pressure, but I don't want to rush into marriage just because we've been together a long time. That's not fair to either of us. I nodded, because what the hell else do you do when someone tells you they're not in love with you anymore? Cry? Beg? Number? That's not who I am. We didn't even argue. I just signed the check, we walked to the parking lot, and I watched her drive away like we didn't just spend the last 4 years building something together. The next few days felt like someone cut the power in my head. Because even when things feel off, you don't expect the person you built a life with to throw it all away with one sentence over lunch. Nothing clicked right. I was showing up to work, but barely present. I'd stare at my monitor like I was waiting for it to tell me what to do. I'd go home to an apartment that still had her coffee mug in the sink, her coat on the hook, and her freaking planner next to the bed like she'd be right back. I didn't tell anyone at first, not even Pete. I thought maybe she'd come back, that maybe she was just overwhelmed and needed a reset. That's what people do, right? They freak out and then realize they've made a mistake. But she didn't come back. And a week later, she took her stuff and left a note that said, I'm sorry I couldn't be the woman you deserved. Please don't hate me. That line haunted me. I wasn't even mad, just hollow. It was Pete who noticed first. He walked into my office one afternoon, leaned against the doorframe and asked, You good, man? You look like you haven't slept in a week. I looked up at him and tried to fake it, but I guess my poker face was garbage that day. She left, I muttered. She said she couldn't do it anymore. Pete stepped inside and closed the door. What do you mean left? She said she's not in love with me, that she felt suffocated, that she didn't want to rush things. She ended it. Pete didn't say anything right away. He just stood there, taking it in, jaw tight like he was trying to find the right words. Then he walked over and sat down across from me. Damn. I'm sorry, bro, that's heavy. I nodded. I didn't even see it coming. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. You want to grab dinner? Blow off some steam? We could hit that wings place we used to go to after overtime. I didn't feel like eating. I didn't feel like doing anything. But I said yeah, because being alone in that apartment felt worse than forcing small talk over wings. Pete drove, talked most of the way, told dumb stories from college, tried to get me to laugh. It didn't work, but I appreciated the effort. You were good to her, he said finally. Don't let this mess with your head. Sometimes people just flip, and it's not on you. I looked out the window. Yeah, she doesn't know what she lost, he added, clapping me on the shoulder. You're the most solid guy I know. You're gonna bounce back. He kept saying stuff like that over the next few weeks, texted me often, invited me out, brought me lunch one day at work. The guy was present, I'll give him that. Everyone else walked on eggshells or avoided the topic, but Pete just acted like I was still me, like I wasn't crumbling under the weight of a blindside breakup. And maybe I needed that. It took me a while to get back into rhythm. I'd stare at her desk across the room and wonder if she even missed me, wonder if she was relieved. I stopped checking her socials, deleted our photos off my phone, boxed up the stuff she left, burned some bridges in my head I knew I couldn't walk back over even if I wanted to. I wasn't okay. But I was functioning. Barely. Pete kept showing up, and for a while, I actually believed he was just being a good friend. So yeah, things got weird. Not just between me and her, but with the whole friend group. Nobody knew what to say. Everyone started acting like I was some kind of fragile statue about to crack open if they said the wrong thing. I wasn't angry at them, I get it. But I also couldn't keep showing up to the same office, walking past the desk where she used to sit and pretending I was okay. So I transferred. Same company, just a different branch. I told HR it was for growth and exposure to a new division. Truth was, I needed to breathe. I needed space where I wasn't constantly reminded of her perfume, her laugh in the break room, or the damn engagement ring that sat in my drawer like some relic from a museum of bad decisions. The new office was fine. People were chill, work was work. I got laser focused. First in, last out. When your heart's torn up and your chest feels like it's got weights stacked on it, staying busy is survival. I crushed deadlines, took on extra clients, and even got pulled into a fast-track project management program. Honestly, part of me didn't care if I burned out. Anything beats sitting at home replaying her words. I just don't feel the same. I need to find myself. Pete and I barely talked. It wasn't weird at first. We both were slammed with deadlines and meetings. We'd still send the occasional text like, "You see that board meeting memo? Total mess." Or "Grabbing wings this weekend?" But plans would always fall through. One of us was busy, or tired, or just not in the mood. You know how friendships go when life starts pulling people in different directions. Slow fade, not a clean cut. I actually missed him. I missed the version of my life where things felt dependable. It's crazy how fast everything can get blurry. One minute you're picking out wedding venues, and the next you're figuring out how to unshare Spotify accounts. I tried dating again. Sort of. One dinner with a friend of a friend. She was nice. I wasn't. My mind was somewhere else the entire time. She asked me what I was looking for, and I just blanked. I couldn't even answer. All I kept thinking was how loud the silence had gotten since I left that branch. And even worse, I didn't know how to be over someone who didn't cheat, didn't scream, didn't lie, just looked at me one day and decided I wasn't enough anymore. I was trying to patch myself up while pretending I was fine. My boss started joking that I was a machine, that I didn't blink, that I was born for corporate life. Maybe I was. Or maybe I was just trying not to feel anything. That branch transfer saved me in some ways. It gave me breathing room, a reset. Then, a few months in, things started to feel somewhat normal. Not healed, just numb. Which was still better than replaying every word she said during the breakup. I was starting to feel like maybe I could move on, until I got a message from Pete. Pete, "Hey man, any chance we could meet up this week? Me and someone want to talk to you about something. In person, not text." Instantly, I felt something tighten in my chest. It wasn't the words. It was the tone. That "not text" part? Yeah. That's when I knew something was off. We met on a Saturday at a coffee shop halfway between both branches. I walked in, saw Pete first, then I saw her, my ex, sitting beside him, her hair pulled back, no makeup, wearing the same denim jacket I helped her pick out for our anniversary trip to Seattle. "Hey," she said, no smile, just awkward eye contact. Pete stood and gave me this weird half-hug thing, the kind you give someone you know you're about to disappoint. I sat down, didn't touch the coffee they ordered for me. I just stared at both of them like I was waiting for the punchline. Pete cleared his throat. "So, this is hard, and we didn't want to say it over the phone." She looked at me, eyes low. "We've been seeing each other." And just like that, the bottom dropped out. I didn't speak. I didn't yell. I didn't even flinch. I just blinked at them while something cold settled into my gut. Pete looked wrecked. "It didn't start until after the breakup. I swear. Nothing happened while you two were together." She nodded, like she needed to back him up. "I was already confused back then. I didn't leave you for him. Things clicked after." "Clicked?" I asked, my voice coming out hollow. She flinched. "I didn't plan this," Pete said, leaning forward. "You're my brother. You know that. I wouldn't hurt you on purpose." I smiled and said, "It is all good. You both deserve each other." That shut them both up. The rest of the conversation was a blur of awkward justifications. We wanted to be honest. We don't want to sneak around. We thought you deserved to know. I didn't storm out. I didn't flip the table. I just nodded and left without touching my drink. My hands were shaking as I walked back to my car. I don't know what stung more, that she moved on so fast, or that she moved on to him. The one guy I trusted through everything. The guy I once called my brother. The guy who knew what she meant to me and still went after her. It wasn't about jealousy. It was about betrayal. That deep, slow kind that doesn't scream. It just empties you out. What a joke. That night, I deleted every photo, every message thread, every calendar reminder tied to her. I muted Pete's number. I didn't block him. I wanted him to see that I read his apology texts and didn't reply. Because silence says what words can't. And just like that, the friendship was done. The engagement was long gone. And whatever piece of me still thought people like them wouldn't do me dirty, that part died in a coffee shop at 4:07 p.m. Then a couple days after that awkward coffee shop moment with Pete and my ex, the company threw this big event celebrating the opening of the new branch. It was a formal dinner thing. Black ties, speeches, all that corporate showboating. Everyone from all departments was invited, even the executives. Honestly, I almost didn't go. I'm not a fan of dressing up and shaking hands with people who only remember your name when you hit a milestone. But my manager insisted, said it was important for visibility. So I showed up, clean cut, wearing the same confidence I've always had, nothing fake. The place was decked out. Chandeliers, overpriced catering, photographers, someone in marketing went nuts. I spent most of the night talking to folks from my team and avoiding unnecessary small talk. I could feel eyes occasionally flicking over to me, then to Pete and her across the room. Yeah, they walked in together. Figures. I kept my game face on. Then my manager, a cool guy, straight shooter, got up on the stage to give his little toast. Thanked everyone, hyped up the growth of the company, mentioned how proud they were of the expansion, yada yada. Then he shifted gears. And one person in particular deserves a special mention tonight, he said. He led one of the highest performing cross-branch projects we've had all quarter and made sure it came in early and under budget. A true asset to the team. Congratulations on your promotion. My name. Applause. A ton of it. People clapping, whistling. I stood up, shook the man's hand, gave a short nod to the crowd, didn't gloat, didn't smile too much, just handled it like someone who's used to getting things done. That kind of attention makes some people uncomfortable, especially the ones who used to think you were beneath them. When I sat back down, I caught Pete watching me, not in a friendly way. It was that tight-lipped, chin-raised look insecure men give when they realize they can't overshadow you anymore. She looked tense, not happy like you'd expect. That made me curious. And then, because life loves irony, those two stood up and tapped their glasses. Hey everyone, Pete started, awkward but trying to be confident. Just wanted to share some personal news while we're all here. I asked this amazing woman to marry me and she said yes. The engagement party is next week and you are all invited. Cheers. A couple surprised gasps. Some people looked between me and them. I stayed seated, straight-backed, sipping my water like it was just another announcement in a meeting. I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction. But Pete didn't stop there. He actually said this next part with a stupid half smile. And well, at least someone here managed to keep his job. A few chuckles from the peanut gallery. You know the type. The ones who laugh at anything so they don't look out of the loop. My ex just gave this smug shrug and leaned into him like they were co-stars in a sitcom. I stood up. Not storming out, not making a scene. Just stood, walked over slowly, glass in hand, looked them both in the eye and said, loud enough for a couple tables to hear, "Congratulations." She always did like finding her upgrades in the clearance aisle. Dead silence. A few snorts. One guy from HR nearly choked on his wine. Pete looked like he wanted to say something smart but couldn't find words. She tried to laugh it off, like it didn't sting. But the way her face twitched? Yeah, it landed. I turned around and went back to my table. Finished the night chatting with a couple execs who were way more interested in what I was planning for Q3 than any drama in my personal life. Let them have their announcement. I had something better. My dignity, my paycheck, and the respect of people who actually matter. They got each other, I got promoted, tell me who really won. Something in me just clicked. The petty would have clapped back with some loud drama. The smart part of me? It smiled, nodded, and planned. The second Pete made that jab about keeping his job, I made up my mind. No shouting, no heated texts, no emotional breakdowns, just execution. And this time, professionally. See, back when Pete and I were still close, he used to pull these shady stunts with work. Nothing that would get you hauled out by security, but definitely not stuff you'd want compliance to see. He always had some scheme, cutting corners, padding hours, inflating project expenses. I'd catch wind of it and tell him straight, that's not how I operate. He'd laugh and say, come on, bro, you gotta work the system before it works you. But hey, you know who to call if you ever grow a backbone. I'd just shake my head and walk off. I wasn't built like him. But after that engagement stunt, I realized I'd been sitting on more intel than I thought. So I started digging, quietly. No drama, no breadcrumbs. I still had access to a few old shared project folders, archived emails, expense reports from our joint initiatives, and timelines that didn't add up. I cross-referenced invoices, checked client sign-offs, matched travel expenses to meeting logs. Let's just say Pete was sloppy. Real sloppy. He was billing for phantom consultations, claiming international travel reimbursements for domestic calls, and worst of all, misrepresenting project budgets to skim off the top and shift blame when deadlines slipped, all hidden under flashy presentations and buzzword salads that distracted upper management. I kept everything. Screenshots, email headers, metadata, full PDF reports. I wasn't just compiling receipts, I was building a case airtight enough to make a lawyer weep with joy. And here's where it gets sweet. On the morning of their engagement party, I scheduled an anonymous email blast. Burner account, VPN on, all metadata scrubbed. The email hit every employee, every manager, every C-level, even the HR director. The subject line was simple. Congrats to the happy couple, here's what you're really toasting. Attached were multiple folders labeled by project names with annotated files, summaries, and visual breakdowns of Pete's fraud. Bulletproof evidence, no speculation, just facts. I even included an indexed doc summarizing everything with citations and timestamps, like a damn trial exhibit. And yes, I sent it to Sharon too, with a special message. Hope you're ready for a lifetime of cover-ups and quarterly reviews. Congrats again. I sent it to her parents too, because if you're going to marry a snake, your family deserves to know it bites. Now, Sharon's parents always acted like they were above everything. Her mom especially, the kind of woman who smiled while judging you like she was mentally redlining your resume. They liked me when I was the quiet, reliable fiancé, the stable one, the one with a plan, a job, and no criminal record. Real low bar, but it made them feel classy by association. I didn't expect a response. Honestly, I just wanted them to see who their daughter was really getting into bed with, a guy dumb enough to commit fraud on a corporate server, but I underestimated how fast shame travels in families like theirs. 2 days after the email blast went out, I got a message from an unfamiliar number. The name popped up after a second. Sharon's dad. I didn't pick up. Let it go to voicemail. He left a long one. Real stiff tone. Started with, I know this is an awkward situation. Yeah, no ST. And then he dropped the whole, we had no idea what she was involved in line. Said they were disappointed and embarrassed. Not angry, not shocked. Embarrassed. That's how they talk when their reputation's at stake. It went viral in the company before noon. People didn't even bother pretending they weren't reading it at their desks. I got messages from folks I hadn't talked to in months. Bro, is this real? Did you see this? I played dumb. Wow, no clue. That's wild. All while sipping my coffee like a monk on a mountaintop. Now, the engagement party? Yeah, that turned into a ghost town. Half the people they invited from the company suddenly had emergencies or couldn't make it last minute. Even a couple of their wedding vendors canceled for scheduling conflicts. Funny how that works when your name's trending in internal Slack channels next to words like embezzlement and audit. Then her mom called, and unlike her dad, she didn't even try to sugarcoat it. She was livid, not at me though, at her daughter. You humiliated this family, she said, loud enough that it clipped in the recording. Do you understand what you've done? We vouched for you. We supported you when you said he wasn't the right one. That one hit. Wasn't the right one, huh? So that's what she told them after she left me. Painted me as the problem. Cold, distant, married to his job. You know, the classic, he didn't make me feel alive bullshit. Her parents asked if there was any way I could contain the damage. Her actual words. Not help, not talk. Contain. I didn't reply. Not out of spite. Just because I wanted them to sit in it. To feel the mess they helped justify. Because they did back her. All the passive-aggressive comments at family dinners. The condescending questions about why the wedding hadn't happened yet. The way they looked at Pete like he was some golden retriever of a man, with charm and drive, when really he was just a hollow fraud with a fake smile and empty spreadsheets. Now they got to watch that golden retriever piss on their rug and drag the whole family name through internal audit hell. Let them squirm. Let them explain to their wine club friends why their daughter lost her job, her man, and her future all in one fiscal quarter. I wasn't going to lift a finger to help them look clean again. I already did my part. I told the truth. The rest, that's their mess to mop up. Then came Monday morning. Pete got the dreaded, please report to HR email. You know the kind. Formal tone, time-stamped, with compliance and legal copied. An investigation was launched immediately. HR called in IT. They started pulling access logs, billing history, and Slack threads. Within 2 weeks, they'd confirmed enough to terminate his contract with cause. No severance, no reference. Legal sent him a notice. The company was pursuing damages for financial misconduct. Civil litigation, real court dates, real consequences. After Pete was escorted out of the building and legal notified him of the pending civil suit, I got a text, private number, unfamiliar area code. But I knew who it was. You think you're smart? You're gonna regret this? You think you won? I ignored it, moved on. I'd already changed my main number, but my work line still existed on a few old forms. They must have pulled it from there. Then came another, this time from Sharon's number. Why would you do this? You were the one who got dumped. Let it go. You're obsessed. This isn't healthy. You need help. Still didn't respond. 2 days later, both of them started up again. Back to back, rapid-fire texts that just reeked of desperation. Pete led with the usual fake bravado. You're not clean either, bro. Keep poking and we'll start talking. You'll get yours. People like you don't win. You're just first in line for the fall. And then Sharon sent the real kicker. You think this is over? We'll make sure you get what you deserve. That line? That one was different. See, there's a legal distinction between venting and threatening, and that one crossed the line. I don't play victim, but I do play smart. I forwarded everything, every message, every timestamp, every interaction to my lawyer. Didn't even need to say much. Just sent it with the subject line, harassment, escalation after exposure. Within 48 hours, we drafted and served formal cease and desist letters to both of them. Clean language, just facts. Effective immediately. All direct or indirect contact must stop. Any further communication would be documented and pursued under California Civil Code Section 527.6, harassment, and Penal Code Section 653M, electronic threats. Any slander or retaliation would result in immediate restraining order filings and defamation suits. We sent it via certified mail and digital delivery, with red receipts confirmed. They got the message. Because after that was silence. No more rage texts. No cryptic posts. No fake accounts watching my Instagram stories. They disappeared like amateurs who finally realized they were playing chess against someone who already mapped out every move 5 turns ago. And Sharon, she was gone before the ink dried. She left him, moved her stuff out, ghosted his socials, deleted the engagement post. Last I heard, she moved back in with her parents and started job hunting. She didn't just lose her fiancé, she lost her job too. HR said it wasn't retaliation, just an internal restructuring due to the ongoing investigation. Sure, January. Their little power couple image? Shattered. Pete's reputation is in the dirt. He applied to a few startups in the area. Word got around. Nobody wants to touch him now. Not with that mess on his name. His LinkedIn turned from open to opportunities to unemployed and making Canva graphics for fake projects. Meanwhile, I got promoted. They made it official the week after the investigation wrapped. Senior project lead. Bigger office. Better pay. Stock options. They even assigned me to the high-value client portfolio. After that anonymous blast, HR didn't come knocking. No meetings, no investigations on my end. I wasn't mentioned, wasn't suspected. I didn't leave a fingerprint, and I made damn sure of it. But people knew. Not the higher-ups, not officially, at least. They were too busy circling wagons and pretending the system hadn't just face-planted in broad daylight. But the employees, my co-workers, they knew. The whispers started by noon. Did you see that email? Holy shut! Pete was skimming. Man, whoever found that deserves a raise. Nobody said my name. But they looked at me different. The way you look at someone after they pull a sword out of a stone and just go back to typing like nothing happened. People would pause when I walked into the kitchen, like they were about to say something and thought better of it. One of the analysts, kid from Boston, sharp as hell, gave me a nod in the elevator one morning and just said, clean work. That's it. Just clean work. Like he was giving props to a hitman who wiped his prints and left no blood on the carpet. Pete used to claim he held together. That was the beauty of it. I didn't get a speech or a handshake, but I got something better. Respect. Quiet nods. Space to breathe. No one cornered me with questions. No one tried to dig. They just let me work. And that's all I wanted. Let them guess. Let them wonder. Let the story spread through back channels and lunch tables like folklore. All I cared about was the fact that justice had a body count. And I wasn't one of them. I've been thriving. Got a new apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows and zero emotional clutter. I sleep better, eat better, think clearer. I left behind every fake handshake and sugar-coated backstab. Burned the bridge and built a penthouse from the ashes. Truth is, I don't care what you call it. What matters is I protected my peace, handled it with precision, and let karma wear a suit and deliver the message. They say success is the best revenge. I say silence is. Success just adds subtitles. Pete got exposed. Sharon vanished. I got promoted.